Hey, everybody. Welcome to a very special edition of We Are For Good. I mean, we are sitting in fancy couches with nice mics. You know something's up. But today, friends, is a day that we just wanted to talk to our community really openly and have a conversation before a conversation. So something big is on the horizon and we're like can barely hold it in, but we wanted to reflect. Like we've got Becky here, we've got Julie. When Julie pulls up a mic, you know it's a special day.
You know it's a big deal when
Right?
Julie comes to the table because we pretty much have to like twist her arm to come up here anyway.
Yeah.
So it's a big deal
Happy
that
to
she's
be
here.
And we
Yes.
get to be in real life. That never happens anymore.
I
So
can hold
I'm
her
happy
hand.
to be here.
This is nice.
And I feel like we're never together in the same space anymore. Like we're together virtually every day, but like to be here. So since we've been together last, we've celebrated 5 years of the podcast. And I think there's so much that's happened, so much that's changed, so much that's still the same that we want to like give context today in this episode and kind of give the through line of how did this even happen and where are we at today, right?
Yeah, I just think 5 years is such a formidable start for a startup. You can see all my gray hairs and all the crow's feet on the side of my eyes from the growing pains of We Are For Good. But we have a really big announcement and something really exciting is about to happen for this community, for people who haven't even met us yet. And we felt like before we got to that announcement, we really needed to have the retrospect of let's go down memory lane. Let's talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. And let's explain this journey and how the heck we came to be here. So
I love this.
And
I
the
mean,
fact
so
that
we're
I'm
going way
not in
back.
yoga pants is really weird in house
We have
shoes
the
right
jeans on
now.
for this.
Totally.
Like we've known each other for almost like 20 years. And if you think back to like my hairstyle 20 years ago, it was kind of scary.
I have
Actually, it
literally
was exactly
seen
the
all
same.
your
Let's be clear.
hairstyles and it's been the same. And you get tweaked when you don't
missed
get a
my
haircut.
highlighted tip phase of high school.
Oh
I mean,
my
let's not bring that
gosh.
back. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
but that was like everybody back then.
Yeah.
And you've seen me at every phase where I have so much nervous energy that I would like sit on tables, take my shoes off in the middle of meetings.
And your heating pad that goes everywhere
oh my
with
God,
you.
my heating pad does
it's
go
so good.
everywhere with me. That's what happens.
I mean, we have to go back to how we met. And
Little Johnny
sounds
walking
like a
in his
sitcom.
clip-on tie. Are we going to talk about
like,
that?
I didn't know how to tie a tie. Like, why do we have to rub that in? But I wanted to impress. I'm, about to graduate art school at Oklahoma State, looking for an internship. And there's this 8.5 by 11 flyer that's so hideous that says intern needed at the
It's true. It was.
OSU Foundation. I wanted to do like a mission kind of work. And so I got really prepared for this interview and I walk in and literally there's Becky Endicott.
25 years old, no clue what she's doing. Like,
But I thought you like had your whole life
I
together.
know.
You're like
It
the
was a
director
ruse.
of marketing.
Yes.
But I got the job and it's like we saw the world the same way and life was crazy then. Can we talk about what we were like walking through?
Yeah, I mean, we were a marketing team of largely 20-year-olds who were about to launch a $1 billion campaign. We were in the middle of just this story time at Oklahoma State where Boone Pickens was coming in, they're dropping all these $100 million gifts, and we were trying to chart a new narrative for philanthropy and for generosity. And we didn't want to do it like everybody else. And we were like, what if we got into the heart of people? What if we got into the heart of story? And John is the most incredible designer. I say
As
this
we
all
know.
the
It's so
time.
embarrassing.
Make him uncomfortable.
To this day, you are still the most brilliant impact designer I've ever met. Put it together with my writing, and something happened with these marketers disguised as fundraisers. And we found this rhythm and we found this voice and this nuanced way to write and connect. And we were like, how do we change everything about the way this sector approaches this? And how do we start in our little corner of the world, even though we didn't know what we were doing? And we just failed forward. And it was amazing.
It was also completely terrifying, feeling like imposters.
Yeah.
Figuring it out along the way. And I think those early years definitely planted seeds of like this community, of this idea of like, how can we talk about things when we don't know what we're doing? How can we find safety in that? And so that season led to going to healthcare philanthropy. And, at the time we were like rebuilding from scratch. We went from a $1 billion campaign to like starting with seemingly nothing. And I think that was a season that really changed how we viewed philanthropy, how we saw movements work. Also like solidified that story is everything. Authenticity is everything. Trust building happens one at a time. It can't just happen at scale without getting to know people, like it was definitely a season of life.
I love that you're at like the heady 10,000-foot view. And I'm
Always,
like,
right?
do you remember when Garth Brooks was suing us, our hospital? I mean,
It's
I
out
think
there, yeah.
we
Yeah.
literally walked in when
Mhm.
that was actually happening. And so there was this question and this bigger nuance of, is there trust in this organization? Oh, I didn't even know you guys were a nonprofit, this healthcare
Yeah.
organization. And so we took a step back, and I remember our CEO coming and saying, we need an employee campaign. So we have all of this international media looking at us. We have staff who don't even know we're a nonprofit at the time.
Mhm.
And we're like, how are we going to awaken this belief? How do we make it so much less about these distractors in the headlines and more about the human and more about what matters to them?
We wanted something that would be deeper. We're trying to rebuild a culture. Like, it needed to be deeper than transaction. Story was everything.
Oh my gosh. And we built this campaign, and it was baked in story. It was
Yeah.
baked in the human. It was baked
We
in
didn't have a
their
goal.
story. We had no goal. We're like, what if we
Intentionally
did
didn't have a goal.
everything the opposite of what has been done in the past? What if we centered lived experience? What if we said, you tell us what's important to you? And then the onus is on us to not only tell you the story of what happened, but to
Mhm.
tell you how many people were impacted by it. And all of a sudden, that campaign took on a life of its own.
Yeah, because it was more about everyone sharing what mattered to them, and then the generosity flowed from that. That's the great unlock. Everyone's talking about major gifts. Everyone's talking about building the donor pyramid. We would go to these conferences after I would like hide my badge because we're the hospital getting sued by Garth Brooks. Like, totally that energy, right?
We were in a session
Oh, it was
where our
a case
hospital
study.
was used
Yes.
as a horrible case
Oh my
study. And it
gosh.
was
I'm
like
like-
Homer Simpson, like
bushes,
melding into
like-
the back of the bushes.
It's so
Like,
bad.
it was so terrible.
Yeah. But like the through line is like, that was planting seeds. Those years was like, community is everything. It's all about flipping the pyramid, and it's not the focus only on the top. It's activating the base. So this idea really set deep within us, and we started teaching employee giving, not really knowing where that would go, but it planted the seeds for We Are for Good.
And not knowing the lessons that we were learning would soon become our values for
Yeah,
We Are
that's
for
a good
Good.
call.
Even as you
Yeah.
were talking about community is everything, I was thinking that this employee campaign taught us that we needed to simplify, humanize, and tell a good story,
So
which is
good.
our core value number 3. It was seeing that core value number 1, everyone matters,
Yeah.
and that we were going to play the long game. Now, I guess I'm just listing all of our core values. But it was truly like, what made this moment in time so special? Was it lightning in a bottle, or was it something that made people stop and pause? How many times do we stop and pause now? We're hit with 5,000 branded messages a day,
Yes.
11 million bits of information. Our brains are so tired. How often do we stop? And that's where I felt like the magic was seen. And so we had this experience with this employee campaign, and we were like, okay, we have some core tenets here and learnings. Let's apply it to this gala. We're from Oklahoma. We say gala. I'm sure it's probably gala.
Gala, gala,
Yeah, I don't know
whatever.
which one it is. And then we were able to like 3x our gala, and it was the largest fundraising event in Oklahoma. And it was totally based on story. It was totally based on the human.
Yeah.
It was totally based on lifting the base up.
Because if you're willing to play the long game, we're going to have a buzzer every time we say our core values.
Yeah.
If you play the long game, the payoff is worth it by doing it slow and building it with community. Like
Building with
yeah.
community, not for community.
Boom.
And let's just say, I don't want people to think it was all sunshine and roses, because we were humbled many, many times. And there would be times, I remember the T-shirt. Do you remember the T-shirt phenomenon? I know I
remember the year
squirreling.
that it was printed crooked, so I kept like looking and like, what's what happened to our
forgot
shirt?
about
Like,
that
yeah.
one. But it was like, we were like, oh, we want people to give just because it feels so
right.
innate. And it's like, no, people want to be a part of something bigger in a movement. They want to grasp onto something. We're like, we're marketers. We love a good brand. Like, let's put it on a T-shirt. Let's put a threshold around it. Let's put story around it. And people who gave $5 per pay period, which is a $130 gift a year, ended up raising $600,000 in that campaign. In that campaign, when combined together, and
It's so
that
cool.
was when we were like, the power of small gifts, powered by belief,
Yeah.
can change everything.
I mean, you're giving me so many hooks of like the actual starting of We Are for Good. So we got to get into this
Yeah,
because,
get into it.
I binged a lot of entrepreneurial podcasts and was in that space of like wanting to do something, but wasn't sure what. And we thought we could be consultants to go teach people how to do employee giving. But what if we took the values that we've learned and put them into a podcast? Because at the time, I have a very geeky spreadsheet. I'll send it
Oh
to
my
whoever wants to
gosh,
see
it
this.
is so long.
Of like before AI could map this, it's like I spent hours like going through and figuring out what are all the nonprofit podcasts out there. But there was nobody that just had like an ongoing conversation multiple times a week with people talking about what's happening right now, what matters, these disruptive ideas, not teaching the old playbooks. And we're like, we love talking to people. What if we told stories? What if we did it at a crazy pace? I wanted to do it 5 times a week.
Yes, Julie.
I was like, is he
I
gonna
want to
say it?
see your face. Do you remember when he tried to convince us to do 5 a week?
I thought it was the way. Like I kind of still am like, was that a misstep? It was the way, like, right? So
Patting his head.
like any good negotiator, we ended at 3, which like allowed us to like have a pace that allowed us to meet so many people and to have so many conversations. And I think what we weren't ready for was how not only like that it would change a community, but how it would change us, in the process too.
Oh my gosh.
But okay, we got to talk about like actually jumping, right? Because we have this
What
idea.
was going on during that time?
Okay, so from an idea that, okay, maybe we could have a podcast, maybe there could be this community, this idea. Once we had the business plan, Becky is always so clear of like, I am leaving June 30th, 2020. I'm like, I love that you have so much clarity.
I'm
I'm
pretty
like,
sure I said that the June before that.
I know. And I'm like, plus I love that you're ending on the end of a fiscal year. We appreciate that as your nonprofit.
I wanted to close all my
what the
gifts.
heck?
I wanted to leave my house better than I found it. So yeah.
Either way, you had a date. Thank goodness you had a date because I can tend to put things off, And so what we didn't see coming is we had this idea and then everything of 2020, early 2020 started to happen. And I remember being in the office the day, like March 13th, when everything just shut down and we're about to launch We Are for Good. And I think in that moment, I was like, I have no idea what to do. Personally, family, definitely not with like, do I send an email now to donors or not? Like, what do we say? What do we do? What's our next move? Do we fundraise? And I guess I started questioning everything. So as we went home and were working remotely, weird other things happened. I got these job offers that came in front of me. And it's like, I hadn't considered leaving in those 10 years. And these 2 offers came in at that same time. And it's like when the world was upside down, I'm like, we should be chasing stability. I've got this amazing family that I want to support. And what's the right move? Do I take this path or do we do this? Which is why I think it's so funny. You're like, June 30th, I'm leaving. I'm like, I wish I had that clarity, But I'm going back and forth. It was just kind of a season of asking a lot of questions. And there was a moment that I point back to, and it was like there was an energy flow. Talking about it with my wife, Candace, who obviously has been so much part of every part of this journey, like took my shoulders in the office and she was like, John, when are you going to quit giving up on your dream? Like, we got to do this. And I feel it kind of come in my body now too. Like it was the belief, and that's such a through line of this conversation, that she had belief when I didn't. And it helped me know like, it's going to be okay. It's going to be beyond okay, but we have to do this. And it's like something switched. And I know you were kind of just waiting on me to make up my mind.
I mean, let's talk about this. I was on short-term disability. I was on 3 months. I had taken off. I had the worst nervous breakdown in 2019, which I've talked to so many of you out in the podcast world, in the nonprofit space, who have had, your mental health crises at the hands of nonprofit work. But I was so clear-headed at that point because I was at the very end of those 3 months and I could see it. And all it needed was for us to leap. And it had every reason for us not to leap. Because, I mean, the world was closing down and we decided to do this. And you were like, there is a missing piece.
Yeah. Like we can't do this plan without the missing piece.
With just you and I. No way.
The short answer is we had to have a producer. Like we can't have John's vision of all these episodes, right? With like, clearly we cannot do that on all the things and to make it work. And we're like, who is that missing piece? And so what we didn't add is maybe like a year before, we're having a gala. I'm going to say gala.
We're going back to the gala.
We're going back to the gala.
It always
Of course
ends
we
up
will.
back at
I
the
probably
gala,
have a
I
headset
feel
on.
like.
Let's be clear. Running.
You got your Shivari chairs. You got your rubber chicken. Like, yes, we've all been there.
Passive aggressive fights over auction items. Things like these happen. Okay, so we've got that. But there are like 4 or 5 college volunteers
On a Friday
students
night.
that just came because they were a friend of our intern to come help.
To volunteer.
And then you think, oh, they're just here for the free drinks or whatever.
Class credit.
I go to the back room and they're all like laughing and like typing in all these bids or whatever's happening in the back room, like having the best time. And I'm like, who are these people? Like, who are these kids? I'm sorry, that's so like diminishing, but it's like, who are these young
We were kids.
people that
She was like, I give you permission.
that are here on a Friday night doing this? And Julie happened to be one of those that night, which was wild.
She was like the shining star.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I remembered her, but then she applied for a role and ultimately joined my team. And we were working on some project, Julie, and I remember we had made this video and it was crap. Like, let's be very clear. It was like not making sense.
It wasn't
I think
that
we had filmed
bad.
a bunch of stuff that
I
like
can't
didn't make
remember
sense.
this video.
And Julie's like, hey, let me just take it. And she took this script and the clips and she threaded this amazing story out of what I thought was not great into something like amazing. And I'm like, Becky, I think our missing piece is right here.
Yeah.
Like, it's
she's
Julie.
been there the whole time.
She's been there. It's Julie. I'm like, oh my gosh, we have to tell her. We have to invite her.
And can I just say, how many of you out there have had someone in your shops who are young, hungry, curious, unbelievably talented? Like, I'm going to get so emotional talking about Julie because Julie is like our whiz kid. She is like
It's our whiskey.
she is like the missing piece. She is the Renaissance woman who could do anything, and she's quiet and humble, and she prefers to be in the background, which is why I'm so proud of you for being up here.
Thanks. Glad to
She
be
can
here.
finally talk like 40 minutes into
I
this.
know, right? And it was like if you can think of that person that you could hand anything to, and they could just make it work. And you pull Julian to
I mean, you
our
got to share this
office.
story.
Yeah,
Like, what were you
share the
thinking?
story and what it was
Well,
like.
Well, I'm just giggling listening to all of this because while y'all were doing all of this at OSU Foundation, I was like, was I in 3rd grade? I was trying to piece together
Oh
the timeline.
gosh, it's so embarrassing.
And my friend in college was your intern. So while all of that was happening, I was also studying nonprofit in college. I was one of those that like wanted to do this in college. And so my friend had us all come. Fun fact, I rescheduled a first date for that gala. So I'm actually like
What?
so I could come. So I'm actually
my
very
God.
excited I did
Dude.
that because now we're here. Anyways, it was so fun. But fast forward to the moment where John is telling me about this dream because I've been on his team. I've been doing stewardship. I was able to like work on all the different teams at our foundation. So I just learned a ton. But we're sitting there working on an Impact magazine. And John's like, in a very John way, Becky and I are going to leave this summer. we want you to come produce our podcast. What do you think? And I was like,
Record screech.
do you want me to close
Shut
the door?
I
You
think you
want me
should
to
shut
close
the door.
Our like whole foundation team is down the hallway and he's like, come join this with us.
Oh my gosh.
But I always loved marketing. I loved storytelling. I would like mix our like pep rally songs in high school. So it felt like
you would.
such an immediate yes. It's the John and Becky effect. If they ask you to do something, I just wanted to work with you all. So yeah,
I don't
but I'll
remember
never
you
forget
hesitating.
You
I
saying
mean,
that.
did you hesitate? I feel like you were like, yeah. And I'm
No.
like, do you want to think about
That
it?
was like
I'm
very 23-year-old energy. I was like, let's do it. That's so fun. So yeah, no hesitations at all. I was
Wow.
ready to jump
Gosh.
in.
And then Julie spends like a couple weeks on YouTube to learn how to be a producer. Is that true?
I did. Took a couple classes, figured it out. All of our first guests were my old professors, my old intern boss at St. Jude. So it was a really organic way to like launch the podcast. We really just like plugged it in and figured it out. And I feel like that energy carried us through the last 5 years. But it's fun to think back to that conversation.
So we're getting to launch.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, so I remember sitting in your bonus room, Becky, and
Barbie
right
Dream
after we'd
House off
quit
to
our
the
jobs
side.
and we're all on this sectional like, we just started this. What do we do now? So much of that energy, we knew we needed to set like a first deadline. And that was August 20th, right? For the first podcast episode.
Yeah.
So plugged in mics, just started talking, and recorded
And we were
a couple
scared.
of
I want to say that, because we have so many people that come on the podcast and talk about the fear they have of talking and speaking on our podcast. And I just want people to know we were scared.
It was
We
terrifying.
didn't know what we were doing.
Yeah. So we batched, we created a bunch of episodes, we get to launch day, and we used the same strategy. The only strategy we ever knew was, how do we activate? Well, we didn't have an audience. I think people think that we launched the podcast and it's like we just knew all these people and had connections in all the states and around the world. And it's like, yeah, we started at step 0, of the plan. And that looks like, when you have nowhere else to start, you start with belief, like who believes in you. And for us, that list was everyone from your Spanish teacher.
Hi, Senora Stafford.
To obviously our families,
Little
to people
league
that we
coaches,
have
neighbors,
worked with, and
college, everybody.
But of course, also people in the nonprofit field that we knew would be excited about this and cheering for this. But that was probably the smallest subset at that moment, And we sent a ridiculous amount of personalized emails. Hundreds. Like, we took every night, like we would record during the day, we would do our consulting work to like pay the bills, and we would just at night write these very personalized emails to everybody asking them, hey, this is happening. Would you show up in this way? Could you do this?
You believe in us. You already know me. You know John. You know what we're about. You know our values. We're going to try something really big. We don't even know if it's going to work, but we have this bigger dream, and here's 3 ways you could help us. And it was like, download the podcast, tag in somebody from nonprofit, share it.
Yep.
And so it was like, this is why we talk about staging so much and the importance of it in your campaigns and anything you're going to launch, is that if you can start with those believers and remind them why they're there, what your shared commonality is, and tell them very succinctly what you want them to do. When we launched, we didn't launch with just Becky, John, and Julie. We launched with hundreds of people behind us who saw that trigger and they leapt. We were all leaping at the same time. So we had this notion. We wanted to disrupt the sector. You had this brilliant idea about building this podcast. But what we haven't talked about, John, is why. Why did we want to do this? When we were sitting in all of those conferences, sitting in these ballrooms, and we're listening to people talk about the strategy and the theory, there was just like something missing for us. And so that really became We Are for Good's why.
Yeah. We're laughing about being at those conferences where we're like hiding our badge. But I also felt imposter on a different level of like, I was not a fundraiser. I was a designer. I was a kid who got a job as a designer, who learned marketing, who learned fundraising, and is now leading a program. And I just felt like the sector needed a different take. Like, you don't have to have permission to be in this room. Like, we can actually make the table bigger. There's room for you. And it comes with democratizing access to learning. And COVID changed all that because everything's virtual that maybe wasn't, but still creating like a community where people can feel welcome and that they feel like they belong, because we actually believe that everyone has a superpower to bring. So how could we create a place where resources were available?
Ideas, innovation.
And so podcasts fit that
balance.
Because people anywhere can find it. And it's definitely part of the story of how people have found us, over the years. So, I mean, the next couple of years after the podcast launched, you look back now and you see the through line. But at the time, it felt like we were meeting one person that opened up another door, that opened up another door. So when you look back, it really was this snowball. It's like we were making new friends multiple times a week. We were in conversation with this community that was finding the podcast. And it was like changing us. And it was also changing our belief in what was possible, because it wasn't just the 3 of us with mics. It was this growing group of believers that, were connected on something deeper and bigger.
And then, I know I say this all the time in the podcast, the gala is not just a gala. The campaign is not just a campaign, but then the podcast became not just a podcast to me. Yeah. That was where the shift happened. It was like we were starting these conversations on the podcast, but then they would start to ripple, and then people would bring others in. And then we started to have some webinars, and then we would have meetups. Do you remember our community meetups, like where we would just hold space.
On
And
Zoom. This
on
is like
Zoom,
nothing fancy.
it was so
Yeah.
basic. And people would just show up. And then I noticed there was this shift of like, yes, we were learning, but there was this belonging and trust. And people were sharing such private and intimate details about their work, their personal life, the toll that it took. And it was like the community started to grow and build itself, which was so beautiful to me. And can I just say, like, such a relief that we didn't have to figure it all out. Like the community
right.
literally was guiding us.
I think that was planting seeds because we knew our values when we started, but we actually came back at one night. I mean, it was in the first few weeks of launching that Becky and I are messaging, probably really unhealthy at like 2:00 in the morning.
Yes,
and we're like,
don't do that, please.
I think there's a missing value that we really need to like come out clear about. And that was community is everything.
And I was like, that is it. That is the bookend of all the values. But the reality was community was teaching us. They were evolving us. They were evolving each other. And do you remember how many times people would come to us and say, what is We Are for Good? And we were
Including
like,
our parents, our
yeah,
friends.
yes,
What
like
is
everybody,
They
each
still ask
other. And it was like it was changing so much. First, it was a podcast. Then it was a media company. Then it was an ecosystem. Then it was a movement. And it's like, yes, it is all those things to so many different people. But the community would drive it. They would direct it. And then we got to this seminal moment, I feel like, when we decided to do Impact Up. And I feel like we should talk about that in just a hot minute.
Well, I mean, to be really transparent, it was in the hardest season of We Are for Good.
Can we just talk about, it has been so hard, friends, like burnout, stress, financial pressure. Like
Strapped.
we have never had money. Can I say that? I'm saying it. I'm freaking saying it. We have rarely had 2 nickels to rub together this entire time. And when we would tell people that, they would be so shocked and they would say, oh my gosh, but I see you everywhere. And it was like, to me, that was just the flywheel effect of community just kept lifting and lifting. And it appeared that we were, but there were so many times where I remember one time we were trying to pay that bill at dinner.
Well, let me set the stage of this.
Yes,
okay?
please
so
do.
I feel like we took this, what I would call a risk, like where we've met so many amazing people through the podcast. We know we want to democratize education. What if we built the most amazing virtual bougie training? We're not giving nonprofits the scraps. They're getting like the best. That's what we deserve, right? And so we took this bet and flew out 7 amazing humans to Dallas. And we did this incredible recording to create what's now called We Are for Good Pro, or used to be called We Are for Good Pro. But that night solidified everything because the people here teaching and making these kind of ideas accessible,
brilliant.
Like seeing people in their superpowers, you could feel the momentum building. Everything is happening. And I remember toasting the table. I have this weird thing of toasting. Like I just feel like I need to toast when people are gathered for whatever reason.
Toast.
He does love a good toast and Melba toast. So yes.
Yeah. Toast is a through line too.
Yeah.
So like, I'm like toasting this group and I'm looking around and I'm like, I can't believe like this has happened because we just started this podcast and to look around this room and there's people that flew in from New York and there's people that came in from Colorado and Los Angeles. Like it was, everyone left what they were doing to come here to be around this table. And it's this beautiful moment. And then literally the waiter drops off the ticket and I'm like, grab the ticket and I open it. And the bill, I had this sinking moment of that's more than that is in our bank account.
Real talk here,
and
folks.
I'm like, this like lump in my throat. How could everything be so in sync and so out of sync in the same moment? And it was a tough.
It was a tough moment. But it was like there have been so many times where like the well was drying up in the bank account or in our energy or whatever it was, and something would happen.
Always would happen.
Yeah.
Always.
Like we had to create an entire Slack channel for all of these incredible moments that would happen seemingly at the last minute that would push us to keep going. And I feel like Impact Up was one of those catalysts where we were like, the community is pushing us to do something different. We want to have our own space. We want to have our own conversations. We want to go deeper. And I felt like you and Julie together had Impact Up in your brains. I really do.
I mean, I think we were
Julie
always taken
said it for
aback
like 3
by this,
years.
like,
Let's be clear.
Yeah,
Julie was
for
saying
sure.
for like years we need to do this.
We never knew what it would look like.
Yeah.
And I think we got so much clarity by fourth year, third,
Mhm.
3.5, 4 years of we're building this with community. People are already there. What would happen if we invited people to this idea of like what starts here ripples? How do we have a central virtual event and then invite people to do local meetups wherever they're at? So we send like a rogue email. We have a lot of rogue emails in our story.
We're like, will this work? You know, we call that. That's the innovation word, and We Are for Good is try stuff.
Try stuff.
Try stuff.
Just
Yeah.
try stuff.
And not only do people respond, like what I thought maybe we could get 10, 15 people to
I
do
remember
this.
thinking like, let's try to get 10
It's
cities.
like the first time there was 25 cities that were enthusiastic and gathered people. And the host, and I just want to shout out the host because people that not only believed, but enough to like invite your friends in person to take a leap and come into this idea is like next level. But it's like such a through line of the story. So thank you to the host that believed that first time.
I want to like share a story or two about it
Do it.
because I remember Catherine Lacefield McDonald was relocating from Canada to Mexico. And she was like, I don't have any community. We just moved here. So she used Impact Up as
That's
a
awesome.
platform to go build community. And then she went out and met all of these nonprofits and pulled together a local meetup. And then we got Simon on the Jinja, in Jinja, Uganda, on the Nile River, holding the biggest Impact Up gathering by pulling together 5 villages as they wanted to talk about sharing power. That's when we knew something was special about this.
It was also freeing because it was peak burnout for all of us. I don't want to speak for everyone, but it felt like we were all having a really hard time. And it was at least freeing for me because I would joke and tell people they would think that our team was massive. And I would say, you're looking at the team. Yeah.
Right.
But once we launched Impact Up, I was like, it feels like we have a team of 35 because we would pull these events off and it was friends that just wanted to help spread the word, plan it in their own city. The speakers at all of our quarterly events like really had ownership on it. So I feel like launching that a year ago really did help us in that way of just feeling like we didn't have it all on just our shoulders, and we were feeling that
did
for
feel
a really
good.
long time.
And so now, y'all, there's been more than 150 meetups across 80 cities, more than 10 countries around the world. I mean, more than anything, it taught us, it showed us, it proved what we already knew. Like the community is everything. But I think it's beyond that. Like community is our theory of change. It is how we actually believe that an impact uprising can actually happen. Because it's not going to happen because of a person holding a mic. It's going to happen because people choose to show up and activate in their local community. And person by person, city by city, that's how this moves and breathes. And so we have so much hope. Like it has given us new energy around what's possible because it's not us. It's like this community.
And then we end up right back where we started, which is flipping the pyramid, flipping the script, giving the power back to the front line. We look at that donor pyramid and we just forget about that base and this notion that the base is the unlock.
The base
is everything, that your mission doesn't have to be a standalone monolithic thing. It can be a movement of so many believers. And that belief, I mean, it's our fourth core value, that belief is so much more powerful than the gift. Belief is so much more powerful than the institution, than the brand. And when you can unlock that, We Are for Good is literally living proof of tens of thousands of people who believed in something bigger and didn't want to do it alone, that we all are better when we're in it together. Like that is what I feel like We Are for Good has unlocked within me. It has unlocked within this movement. And you look at it like an iceberg that we have only seen the very tip.
It's just the beginning.
This is the beginning. And what a hard, beautiful journey it's been.
Yeah. Can I just say I'm so glad to be on this journey with y'all. Like I feel like there's moments when we step back and we're like, it's just so fun we get to do this as friends and like people that trust each other. What a gift to get to be as part of this.
I'm already crying, but I'm just I just love you guys so much. And we have had such high highs and such low lows that people don't even know about. And we chose each other like every time.
Yep.
And then this community like kept showing up in times when we lost belief. We did. There would be moments. And I just want to thank this community. I want to thank you too for being just such heroes of mine and people who propped us up and kept it going.
Back at you.
Yeah,
I'm glad we're
right
all
back at
restrained
you.
by these microphones.
know.
So we can't
Yeah.
like,
Holding us
I will
back.
not hug.
Well, and we became obsessed with this line, what starts here ripples. And that's just what's lifting for me. If y'all are saying that, we didn't know when we plugged in that mic that anyone besides our friends would listen. Or if we launched an event, we didn't know if anyone would come. Just start. You don't know what's going to come from you choosing to start. And like that translates in your mission. I think whoever's listening to this right now, however you found us and wherever you are, that's just been percolating for me through listening to y'all say all of this. I'm just glad we tried it.
You're bubbling up for me too, the thought that I led in saying like, it was just this random list of people, that believed. And how are we 5 years later, me recognizing that's actually it?
Yeah.
Like, it's not the nonprofit sector that's going to change the world.
Yeah.
It's like actually Senora Stafford. It's actually any of us that can be an advisor to somebody, be a friend to somebody, show up with kindness, fundraise for somebody.
Yeah.
Like what a clarion call that it's never been about some avatar. It's about whoever wants to do good in the world. It's really moving.
Okay. Can I ask that as we're winding down here?
Yeah.
How has this experience for both of you reshaped how you look at generosity? John, I'm going to start with you. I'm not going to make Julie go first.
Thank you.
It's never the big things. I mean, we've asked the question now 600 times.
50 plus times.
Like, what's a moment of generosity that stuck with you? And it's disproportionately something that happened in childhood. It's always something small, like 99% of the time. But it's a moment when you feel seen. I'm going to just get on the soapbox again. We can't think that the way to change the world is unlocking another major gift. Like, we have to recognize that it's actually how we can show up in this moment. Like, we have agency as individuals, and that's changed me. I still get choked up, like hearing these stories, and it's like we've asked the question 100 times. Like, it's like it still guts you that, man, that's what this is all about.
Yeah.
So, what about you, Jay?
So I was going to say something similar, but I would build on it and say that it starts with you. Like, everyone's kind of just waiting for someone else to be the generous one. And it starts with you, and it starts with how you show up to work. I mean, launch a company with two of your friends and you will see, like Becky said, every high, every low, financial stress, all the things. But like, if you choose to still show up generously or be there for a friend, it's what it's about. Like, we get one life, and I want to be around generous people. But I feel like listening to everyone on the podcast, it's always, like you said, John, someone that's like, they set up a meal train when I had a kid and it changed everything. Like, that moment changed them. So choose to be that for people, and then they'll do it for someone else. And like we say, the ripple goes from there. But whoever's listening, you probably think it's some big grand thing and you need to be a philanthropist. Like, go do something nice for your neighbor. But
also go be a big philanthropist. Like, we're
do
for that.
both.
For the record, we're very much for that.
Yes.
Amen.
What about you, B?
I just think that generosity doesn't look like what we think it is. We just think philanthropy is this big unattainable thing, and you've already said it.
Yeah.
It is seeing someone struggling and choosing to speak up. It is putting your hand out when somebody needs to be lifted. It is saying yes to something that may be a bit of a stretch for you, but you have no idea how, when you make that human connection, it's going to change you for the better. It's going to solidify your relationship with someone that could be a stranger now, but they could be your person in lots of different ways. And I think that choosing to do something small and reimagining that everybody is a frickin' philanthropist. And if you don't have anything to give, we are in such hard financial times. Show up with your time, with your voice, share a story, connect someone. That's what I think it's taught me. So where do we go from here?
Let's go back to the top and say something seismic is coming. And I feel like we need to preface that there's a deep amount of trust among us, And so for anything that's going to be seismic about something that you can clearly hear, we care so deeply about, and we know so many people that care so deeply about this, that we're not taking this lightly. Like, this has been something that's changing everything, but in the best of ways.
I really feel like this episode was the We Are for Good 1.0 story.
Yeah.
But when you tune back in on Wednesday, you're about to get We Are for Good 2.0, and it will unlock. We're going to start to look underneath that iceberg because there is something that is about to happen to this community that is going to be beautiful. And I know you've been waiting and looking around at the world saying, where is good? And I am telling you that something is about to happen that is going to unlock so much good, not only for We Are for Good, not only for the nonprofit world, but for the everyday change maker who wants to make a difference. So we're teasing it here. We are
love a good hype.
frickin' excited. And we are so in alignment. I want to make sure we say that. And so trusting of what's coming next. And we hope that we can take you along with us. And please bring your friends and your mother and her knitting club and whoever it is.
Always
Because
the knitting
My
club.
girls have a knitting club now. I love that I can say this.
Your kids are
They're
literally
going
knitting
to knitting
now.
club. I love this.
So we'll end, I think, with the one good thing and
Yeah.
gratitude. So want to go around real quick?
I think we should.
I think
mean,
we
one
should
good
too.
thing.
Have
We've done
to.
this 600 times.
Yeah.
But we normally get to ask the guests. So we're
It's our
putting
most
ourselves
feared
on the
question.
spot.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
It's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jay, let's start with you.
Mine is based off of a Bible verse I like, but it's a universal sentiment. It's joy comes in the morning. And times are hard right now. And that's just been something that I've said to myself for years and years and years. A bad day is not a bad life. Like joy will come in the morning. You have another go at it to do something good. So joy comes in the morning. So if you're listening to this, keep going. And we need you. We need what you're doing.
What about yours, John?
I mean, I was going to say inbox zero or something really practical, but I feel like instead, like I have to bookend this.
Please check your kerning. That's what I thought you were going to say. Please check your kerning. Please do not use Comic Sans. Yes, got it.
But I think to me, what's lifting is belief. Like if you don't feel like you know where to start, we were there. If you don't feel like you belong where you're at, like I've been there. Look around you. There's somebody that believes in you. And if you don't have that person, this community believes in you. So come engage in this community. But from that, everything else flows. Like you have to be in community with people that believe in you, that are pulling for you. And it unlocks everything. And so this next chapter is belief 2.0 too, when you find others that believe in you and how that can change everything. What about you, B?
I've got my hands up. Let's do it.
Bring in the children's choir.
I know.
Like encircle us.
Totally.
What have you got?
I think I just want to say you are enough. Whatever is happening in your life, whatever is happening in this moment, whatever is happening in your role, in your family, in your finances, in your brain, I want you to know you are enough. And that person is someone we need in this movement. We need your heart. We need your integrity. We need your ability to pull people in. We need your ability to show up. And whatever that is within you, you don't need to cultivate and tease it out. It's enough. Show up as you are. Everyone matters.
Everyone matters. You're quoting our values.
Yeah.
Of course, we should end with our core value of everyone matters, but we've teased it. Friends, thank you. By nature of just hanging with us for this really long conversation, means the world. By listening, you are this story. I hope you see yourself in this story because we have been changed by the people listening and tuning in and getting to meet in real life. So thanks for being part of this.
And come back Wednesday.
Let's do this.
I'm going to use John's favorite movie quote.
Samuel L. Jackson.
Samuel L. Jackson, Jurassic Park. Hold on to your butts.
Plural.
Because this is going to be a big announcement. And I want to be clear that this is for you.
It's for you.
This announcement is for you on Wednesday. Thanks for joining us.